Good evening and welcome to the Senat Training Ground for our Game of the Week feature between SK Wanderers and Xewkija. You can see the players just over my shoulder warming up for their tactical training and getting ready for the game this weekend. We're currently going to be joined by Brian, head coach, to talk us through his thoughts on the upcoming game and maybe a few thoughts on the game of last week where they lost to another team training just over there, Oratory. Stay with us. Welcome to the Game of the Week. We're joined by the coach, of course, now of SK. Brian, thanks for joining us today. Just before we preview the game coming up with Xewkija, thoughts on the weekend? It was a tight one. It was a tough one to lose, Brian, in many ways, where you are at the moment.
Yes, it is. It's a bit tough. I was a bit down because we had prepared for that game. And I think we had succeeded in reducing hospice to only shots outside the box. But unfortunately, we gave a penalty in an area we shouldn't have given that, and we lost by that, unfortunately, by that penalty.
Yeah.
And it's hard to lose like that.
It's tough. It really is. When you give everything and it's, you know.
Very tough, very tough.
Okay, but new game coming up now. You've got Xewkija, of course, which again are in and around. It's winnable. It's often hard to interview SK because I know your resources, your average age, your if you get injuries, you really suffer. Do you feel sometimes, Brian, that sometimes you've got your hands tied behind your back sometimes, because you don't have the resources to go out and boost up your squad? I mean, you always have to work with what you've got, which is also the sign of a good coach. Is it hard? Is it frustrating, Brian, at times?
We could have, I'll be sincere, we could have brought in players, especially at the start of the season, because obviously now it will be always difficult to get players because everyone, I think, is limited as regards pool of players. But we had decided to make took a decision that we will invest on the young ones. So I knew it's difficult, but as you know, my position is a bit different than other coaches. I'm not here for my success, and I'm not here on the short term. There's a difference between me and other coaches. We have to work on the long term, always on the long term. Because that's our way, how we can succeed. So the decision was there to focus on the young ones and hoping always that they will see us through.
And of course, when you do play the young ones, when they play sort of week in and week out and they know they're going to get a game, that's how it breeds their confidence. That's how they learn. Would you agree?
Yes, they learn. Don, the young ones, they're a good group. If you see, they are all under 19 players, and from 8 games of the league, under 19 league, they've won them all 8, and with good margin. Don, we know we're investing, we're doing the right thing. If it's enough, if they'll be able, together with the foreigners, to keep us in first division, it's a bonus. If not, we're still done. I'm still 100% sure that these group of players in the future, they give us a lot of satisfaction.
Fantastic. I'm also going to be honest and give you a tough question now. Sometimes, Brian, you set up your team in certain ways. I see that. Do you sometimes get a little bit tempted to change around your tactics, to tweak it a little bit? The reason I ask you this, 4 points, games are running out. Sometimes going into a game maybe a little bit defensive. Do you sometimes think, I'm just going to let's just go for this now?
Yes. Now, maybe you're right in the assessment that we should be more adventurous than in the first round, since we had a lot of players missing, especially 1-2 foreigners every game. It was a bit difficult. Because I still believe that 1-0 you're still in the game.
Yeah,
I still believe in the game, and with certain characteristics of our players, they are good on the counter, and on. But yes, we could be more adventurous. I think that against Hospice, maybe I was a bit late in advancing certain players. I admit it. But sometimes. 1-0, as I said, you're still in it. You say if I can at the back too early, sometimes happened we tried to go forward and then we conceded another 1-2 goals.
Yeah.
So, but obviously, finally, it's the result that will justify whatever decision you will be taking.
100%. Did a quick last question before we go into any injuries. Also, what you always get from your players, without a doubt, what you get from SK is 100% commitment, determination. They fight to the death. But again, being a little bit brutal, the same sort of thing. Sometimes maybe that's just not quite enough. You know, it's okay to have fight for the club, have the determination, but sometimes it's the results. It's a results game, football, isn't it, Brian?
Yes. Again, I'll be sincere here. I'm expecting more from certain players, especially from the foreigners. There are two of them. I expect more, and that's what I've been telling them. They can't expect the young ones to carry them. They have to carry the team, and I was very clear about this. Hopefully things will improve. But as I already said, if they don't do the foreigners, if they don't do the difference, it will be very difficult for the young ones.
Yeah.
To know.
Yeah, of course.
So mainly the onus, obviously, on the whole team and the whole squad, on me and everyone. But I think the onus is on the foreign players
to bring them
to make the difference.
Thanks for your honesty. Just before we let you go to your training, injuries, how are we looking for the weekend at the moment? Are you okay?
No, up to now, which is a big up to now. No, we don't have injuries.
You're right.
We should be a full squad. Saturday.
Fantastic. Well, as always, we wish you all the best, Brian, for the weekend.
Thanks
for joining us. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Brian.
Okay.
Now we're joined by Sammy Holland, one of the players, of course, for SK, one of the stalwarts, been around a long time with SK. Just before we go towards the Xewkija game, Sammy, any thoughts on the weekend? It was a tight one to lose to that penalty, wasn't it? It was a tough one.
Yeah, it was hard, you know, like we've been training hard throughout the Christmas period, not a lot of games, you know, and to lose like that, you know, it's a shame, like just off a penalty. We had 10 men and I thought, you know, like we should have got, like, you know, the last 30 minutes, but the chances, fouls, they slowed the game down a lot. So, you know, like with little injuries, this cramp, you know, trying to change it all up at that time was a bit hard.
A bit tough. Yeah. Do you feel sometimes that your squad size, your average age, which is fantastic, it's great to see the young ones come up. Do you think it's tough sometimes for you guys? I mean, you come up like you go up against the door, you go up against Al Sealam, they got all these foreigners, they got players like Barbosa. You know, sometimes is it frustration for you, or do you just keep believing in the club all the time?
I mean, look, I came here, I'm 26 now, so I started with Savina when I was 16. They signed me, and I've had amazing years, you know, with them. We've, you know, had some good experiences, especially like in the MFA Trophy and stuff like that. I think now we've got like one of the strongest teams as kids. They're like flying in the under-19. They've won like 8 from 8, I think.
I hear so, yeah.
So yeah, they're really doing well. But you know, it is hopefully like we can, you know, get some points in the next few games because the kids are really good, you know.
Yeah.
They just need that kind of confidence boost, I think.
Being an experienced player yourself, Sammy, do you believe also, because you've been through that age group, that it's much harder for the youngsters to get beat, isn't it? You know, a couple of wins here and there, it lifts their heads above. And as a more sort of professional, with many games under your belt, you know the game, you know it inside out, but sometimes it's hard for the youngsters to take.
Definitely, as a youngster, I can remember how, you know, the pressure and this when you're young, you're 18, you know, 19, you struggle, you don't sleep the night before a game, getting stuff like this, you know, it's difficult, like, you know, so it's not easy to put pressure on them, you know. No. But they do it really well, you know, and
they're your future
at the moment. At the moment, we have probably the best nursery and kids on Goza, so hopefully in the next few years, you know,
fantastic,
they'll be one of the strongest teams here.
Last question before I let you get back training, because it's cold tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Xewkija this week, it's winnable. They haven't been in the best of forms themselves. They're very up and down. I mean, you know, and again, as I just said to Brian, I mean, 4 points. It's got to start soon, otherwise it's, you know, that's how it is, because you're getting more and more adrift now. Oratori beating Al Sealam, they've gone a little bit further, so it's now or never. I mean, and it is winnable. Do you think it's winnable the weekend?
Of course. I think every game's winnable.
Of course
over here, you know.
Yeah.
Like, the games can fly, like, you know, like even on the weekend you have Oratory beating Xewkija,
Yep.
you know, so that's unexpected.
Comfortably.
You know? So yeah, comfortably 3-0. Like I was thinking how, you know, like, but like this, you know, I think personally we've been really unlucky in games, like, you know, decisions we've conceded, you know, penalties, you know, goals from free kicks, like against and that, it was just like one free kick. They probably didn't have any other shots or many shots, and so, you know, we've been a bit unlucky. I think if we get a few lucky, you know, goals and this, the confidence obviously comes, and hopefully. But yeah, no, definitely, hopefully.
And for sure, a couple of games under the belt and everything changes, the mood in the dressing room, training pitch, everybody starts to feel a bit better about it, for sure.
Of course. I mean, you know how it is, we're last in the table, so there's definitely pressure, naturally, you know, in any team in the world. But hopefully, like this, we'll get some 3 points on Saturday, and then,
fantastic.
We'll go from there.
Good luck. Wish you all luck. Thanks for joining us, Sammy.
Cheers, mate.
Speak to you soon.
You too.
And welcome along to the Xewkija training ground, where we are doing our this week's Armour Live Game of the Week, featuring Xewkija and SK Wanderers. We'll soon be joined by the coach of Xewkija, who's going to take us through the game, his last game against Nador, and also the upcoming fixture against SK Wanderers. Coach, thanks for joining us for this week's Game of the Week. Before we preview the upcoming game, SK, your thoughts on the game against Nador quickly? How did you process that?
No, it was. I'm not disappointed with the performance. So Nador, they show they are the best side so far at the moment. I don't think that can lose any points, but you never know. They cannot get relaxed now. I think they have 6 or 9 points more than Xewkija, but still there is plenty games to go. They are a very organized team. They have good players, you know, and they show that on the pitch. But we had our chances, you know. When you don't take chances, you know what happened. They will punish you. Every small mistake, you get punished. That's the quality. They have good quality, and that's what makes difference in the pitch.
We talked about it just off camera before the interview with Barbosa and Silver. I mean, these guys, you can't give them an inch, so they're going to punish you.
Like I told you, you know, every inch you give them, you know, and they know how to score, you know, and they show that, and that's why they are first.
Where they are, exactly.
Because, like I told you, against them you cannot make mistakes, and you have to take your chances. If you don't do it,
it's
I'm
over.
sorry.
Exactly. So this week's game coming up, you got SK, of course, and without any disrespect to SK Wanderers, these are the games that you should be taking 3 points from, Coach.
It should be, but in reality it's different, you know, because I don't know until Friday if I'm going to have some players missing. I have already 2 in the quarantine, so 1 is coming out today, and the other one I don't know. And that's why it's difficult to plan, because last minute, like before Nador, I got one of the best defenders, Gozidan, he got the quarantine, so you have to play differently.
Yeah.
And this game, yes, we should win, but it's going to be a hard game. I saw them against Victoria Hospers. They were very close to have a draw. Maybe they deserve to get draw that game.
Absolutely.
It was a 50-50 game.
Yeah.
And they are, again, organized. They are a young team. You know, they have that will. They want to win. So I think they will give their best to get something out of the game. But it's depending on us. I always said that if we approach the game good, if all give 100% or 11 players, yeah, the result will come.
The one thing I notice each week watching SK, Coach, is They are very organised at the back. They play very deep. They hold their line at the back. They're very hard actually to break down. In fact, even against Nador, it took them so long before they scored. They are very, you know, it's one of those games where, you know, they let you come onto them, but you've got to find them spaces to break them down. They're very difficult.
Yeah, they are very difficult to break them because when they defend well, you know, then they put pressure on you, you know. If you don't find the net quickly, you know, you will have pressure more and more. And then
exactly.
they have a good striker that he can decide the game anytime. He have good individual qualities. He's a good player, you know. So you have to be careful. Also, they have Sam up front. You know, they are dangerous players. You know, so you have to be very careful how you're gonna approach the game. And
exactly.
like I say, it's now for us it's most difficult game Saturday.
Yeah. Coach, listen, I was going to ask you about your injuries, but you did just mention, and we know you got a couple in quarantine, and that's so we just wish you good luck at the weekend.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us on our game of the week. Thank you, Coach. Thank you. So we're now joined by Jose. Thank you for joining us for our pre-match about the next game coming up against SK Wanderers. Just before we do, just touching a little bit on the last game against Nador. It was quite a tough game. They're pretty lethal. You don't get much time with Nador. I was talking to the coach now about they've got Barbosa, they've got Silva. They punish you for the least mistake. They're very fast forward line. They're hard, aren't they?
Exactly. In my opinion, Nador, they are the best team this year. They have built a very good team, both in terms of Gazettin players. They have very good young Gazettin players, and even in terms of foreigners. I mean, I think that their foreigners are the best in the league. As you said, they can, one mistake can bite you easily against those teams. I believe that we weren't that bad actually. We started a bit on the shaky side, you know, we could have been better. But then, as time passed, we settled in. I believe that we had our chances to maybe level up. But then, yeah, some more silly mistakes, which cost us, let's say, a point.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're very good. They're very good. They're the best.
You're quite right. Once you go behind to Nador, it's an uphill straight away. I mean, their attack is fantastic, but they are a very complete all-round team. So it can be difficult. But okay, that was last week. Obviously, you've got SK coming up this week. If I asked you to sum up your season so far, you know, from the first up to now, I mean, how would you feel? How do the boys feel about your season so far?
This season, to be honest, we expected us to be in a better situation than we currently are. We lost some points that we believe that we should have won. But now that's the past. We have to concentrate on our training, on our performance levels, and we need to show up in the next games. We need to gain points because we need points. At the moment we have 11 points, which we believe we can do much better.
Would you be happy at this time of the season now if you finished in fourth, for example, this season? Would that be, you know, because I know you're rebuilding, I know it's a long-term project. So if you ended up after the start you've had being not brilliant, as you said, some of the results you could have gone for you, but they didn't. So finishing fourth now, would you be quite happy with that?
Yes, I think so. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the team in fourth place is only 2 points ahead of us. So I don't think that that's far-fetched from our side. So yes, possibly that could be a good finishing position for us, yes.
Okay, the last question then for you. Overall, what do you think in this second part of the season, do you think Xewkija, the players, need to improve as a team? Is there any particular thing that you think, you know, we could, if we improved in that section, then we can maybe go forward?
Yeah, in my opinion, the confidence. The confidence is the most important part for a footballer, and we're lacking confidence this season.
Because confidence comes with wins, don't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Confidence comes with wins.
Yeah.
So yes, if we believe in ourselves, if we keep training hard, we keep doing what we know we can do. Because at the moment we're not showing on the pitch.
Yeah.
So if we believe if we build up on the confidence, I think that we can gain more points than we have done.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Listen, good luck at the weekend, I guess, SK. Thanks for
you.
joining us this week, and
Okay.
good to talk to you.
Thank you.
Take care. Good luck.
Take care. Bye.